We are back with another episode of the Songwriters Lounge with myself, Andy, and my good friend, Tom.
Hello. Good to be back.
Hello. How are you, Tom? You well, my man?
Yeah, good mate. Keeping busy. I'm working with a few different artists and also trying to do my own stuff as well. So it's been busy. It's been really busy. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, kind of the same, to be honest. I've been doing a lot of watching the Vice News channel on YouTube. They do like these really cool, and I've just discovered it. They do these really cool like the story behind the music episodes. So I watched one about 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton. I watched one about It Wasn't Me by Shaggy, which I remember like when that came out and it like broke the world. Do you remember it? It was like...
God, yeah, I remember it. I think I was in like junior school or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I'm sure I was still like knee sliding at like the discos. You know, I was like that age where it was like,
oh, you were that kid. I could already tell looking at you. You were the knee slider with like the bag of crisps, chips totally, for our American viewers on the side.
Yeah, and the can of Iron Brew. You know, well, that's because we're Scottish.
Oh, of course, Scottish, yeah.
So yeah. So I've just been checking those out because they're quite cool. So if anyone's interested, you should check them out because they're quite informative and they show you like the producers, the A&R reps, you know, all the people in the industry that helped make that hit happen, I guess, and it's really interesting stuff. And then I've got a couple of cheeky new plugins which I'm playing around with in the studio during my mixing. So. I got the Plugin Alliance bundle, you know, the mixing bundle, which I've tried to convince you to get. Have you got it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a ton of their stuff. There's a couple of their, I think their Mag EQ. I think must be Mag EQ 4.
It's unreal.
Just the best. And it goes up to 40K. I mean, It's like...
So that is...
If you want high end...
It's such a good high end. Like, so if you put that at the 40K... and just, you know, raise the gain on that, the air that you get on a vocal is beautiful. Like, it gives you such clear air. It's lovely stuff.
Yeah, I'm working with this artist locally in Indianapolis, and she does a bunch of background vocals. So I just put all of her vocal ad-libs, especially in the bridge section of one of her songs. It's like she does a call and release or a call and answer. I can't remember what you call it. But for that, I just subbed that straight to a bus. Mag EQ, 40K, up 8 dB.
Yeah.
So a massive boost. But wow, what you get with it. And I just cut the lows up. I like just getting the high end. So I cut the lows all the way up till about 500-600 even. Just cut them straight out just so it doesn't annoy you when you're listening to like the main vocal, because you want the main vocal to be front and center, and then you just want these kind of coming out the sides. I mean, the Plugin Alliance stuff is just crazy. I don't know if any of you guys listening have that or have suggestions, but I use their Townhouse bus compressor on everything.
Amazing. Every mix.
It's the first thing on my mix bus, followed by the V3, which is, I think you put me onto the V3, Andy.
I did, yeah.
I'm still working out what that stuff... I don't understand it still. I'm just still playing with it. I'm like, damn, this thing's sweet.
It's really good.
And I saw that you've got the... I was going to say, I saw you just got Soothe as well. Soothe.
So I did.
That is sick.
So you've had it for a while, and I've always just been using the Pro Q3 and... kind of using the dynamic feature on that to tame certain frequencies that I really hone into. But I guess I'm quite enjoying like the growth of AI technology, and Soothe was always one I had on my radar. And I think it came out a cheeky wee deal, maybe like a spring deal or something. And yeah, I got it, and I've used it on a couple of tracks now, particularly ones that there's just so much kind of sharp frequency poking. That for me to go in and surgically, dynamically try and tame every single one of those is quite like tedious. So yeah, it's been quite useful so far, I'd say. I quite like it.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, it's by a company called OX Sound or Oak Sound. I don't really know how to pronounce it. It's called Soothe or Soothe
something
2.
like that. Yeah.
It's like a dynamic resonance suppressor. So it's kind of similar to an EQ, but it's like way more surgical. So for me, I use it I like it on vocal. It kind of gets rid of any annoyance. Acoustic guitar, it's great on. Horns, strings are great. I've even known people to put it on their mix bus just to kind of get an all-round, just get rid of some. I think Chris Lord Alge, actually, I saw it on one of his Mix the Masters
Just to balance
series.
everything.
He put Soothe 2 on the mix bus, yeah, just to get it right, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's also great on bass. Bass is like the secret weapon. I'm not a great bass mixer or low-end mixer. I guess I don't have the ear for it yet. I'm trying to develop that. But Soothe 2 just cleans up the whole low end for me.
Cool.
It just makes it easier to mix and get rid of the annoyances I hate. Or like, I hate when you can hear a pick in a bass recording.
Yeah.
I don't really use a lot of bass samples. I'll play the bass in myself. But yeah, it's great. I could talk about plugins all day. We need to move on.
Yeah, we do. We could make this literally just me and Tom talking about plugins. So we'll get on to the good stuff, guys, which is the music. So we're on another artist spotlight episode. So in between all our interview, kind of expert interview episodes, we're still doing what we started in season 1 with a bit of a change. But yeah, so we're going to kick things off with a really, really nice song that we got sent in to us, I think, via our submissions email, which is really cool. And I think Tom checked it out and was like, we'll put this on the show. So here is...
Has to be played.
Yeah,
has to be played.
It's a banger, guys. So here is Julia Brennan from the States with Unblame.
Hey, this is Julia Brennan, and I am so excited for you all to hear my song Unblame. I hope you like it.
Gets placed on someone I know. It's a game we play. Looks like you won. 'Cause I can't unblame you. Take you out of this place that we're in. Wish I could unblame you. Take you back to before I gave in. Wish it was out of my head. All of this mess, but I can't undo what you said. I can't unblame you. Take you back again. But the blame gets placed on.
I love that.
So good. So good. And something I just noticed there that I didn't notice when I was first listening to it. I listened to this song a few times just to take some notes to chat about, and the snare cuts through so nicely there. Again, I'm like, they must have boosted those high frequencies. Dun, 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 ka, dun, dun, dun. It's so nice. It's not too hard hitting, which is nice as well for the kind of genre, the pop, electronic pop, electro pop. It just does so well with that snare. And for me, what I took away from this song is the songwriting is so good that you could have taken the instrumental or the final song in about 100 different directions and it'd still be a good song, just because it comes down to melodically, lyrically, it's fantastic.
Yeah, foundation is
this
strong.
could be a rock song. Yeah, it's got a solid bass to it, which I'm really glad they took it this direction, because it just, for me, it's so emotive when you have that kind of ambience going on. And obviously, like the lyrics, the first lyrics, it stays like this. I wish I could forget everything that we shared, and it stays like this. I'm doing my best to unremember how I cared. Sets the tone of the song straight away. The lyrics are so sad but so beautiful at the same time.
Cuts deep.
So it does straight away. You're like, okay, fair enough. I don't know where this song's going. You cut me real deep just now.
Cut me real deep just now.
But for me, the thing that I take away from it is how good the chorus is and how good the production on the vocal is. I'd love to know the vocal chain. It's one of those. I'd love to watch like the pass by pass of every track just from whoever produced it, because or whoever mixed it, I should say. Just the vocals are so clear, and it doesn't fight with any of that. There's a lot of reverb in this song, and it doesn't fight with the reverb, which is a common issue that we hear a lot of. But I thought it was what a great song. It's balanced really nicely. Like I can almost like follow it with an EQ. Just like as I'm hearing it, I'm like, wow, everything is there. Everything is in the place that I want it to be in when I'm listening to it. I love how the kick and the bass kind of work with each other. They both kind of cushion each other. When one's going like crazy, the other's right there behind it, and they kind of like weave in and out of each other really nicely, and they work well together. And the best kind of compliment I can give, that I listened to this song on these headphones, my Yamaha HS5s, and just Apple AirPods, and they sounded just as good in every single one of them. So no matter where you listen to it, it sounds great. Just one of those things that kind of gets overlooked a lot, but when you look at it, when you listen on different implements, like we just did an episode with Dave Darlington. If you haven't listened to it, go back and watch it. The guy is incredible. He said when he mixes, he will always just switch the monitors to listen onto like an old Japanese speaker that he bought in like the 1980s. Yeah. He's like, if it sounds good on that, it's a good mix.
Yeah.
And he is not wrong. And another thing I just wanted to say, just to create the emotion of the track, at the beginning you can hear like the hiss or white noise of the preamp, or it's either that or vinyl crackle that they've added in the background, which is really nice. I know that you touched upon this as well, Andy.
Yeah.
But it's so huge when adding character and emotion to a track, adding something like that, and it's so simple. Just add that kind of the hiss of the preamp, just so you know something is coming, that
something's coming.
It's going to blow your socks off.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's definitely a preamp,
I mean, it sounds like it. It sounds like the hiss of a preamp. But I know that there's like plugins now that you can recreate the hiss,
the white
and
noise
the crackle
and
of vinyl, or like how tape kind of emulates and goes round. But great job, you guys. Julia, banging track.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was just a really solid electropop ballad, and a lot of respect for the sound design as well, because the song, I mean, you've already mentioned, so I won't go over it, but the song is an absolute like foundational, like a solid foundation to build on. And I really liked the sound design, all the different kind of synths in the background, all the kind of moods that were created from the different choices were really good. I thought the melody, I think for me overall, like you always with a ballad like this, it's always down to the vocals and the lyrics to move you and to tell you a story and to get you in the singer's headspace. And I love the vocal melody. I've said it numerous times on the show that intervals are where the hooks are for me. So I love the da 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 da. So you can hear the da,
so
da,
octave jumps.
Like you can hear the intervals there, and it's like that kind of thing. Instantly, I guess it might just be me, but I'm sure a lot of people will relate. Like when they hear that kind of interval, it's those elements that stick for them that they are then able to hum 5 minutes later.
Definitely.
Always one of my tests when I write a song is if I can't still hum it like 10, 15 minutes later after I've like sat it away, then it's probably not a strong enough song. And that's always a little cheeky test that I do. And I think this would have passed that 100%. And yeah, the lyrics were coming deep, Shrek. They were good. They were good.
Outstanding.
I think the key, like I can't unblame you, is quite like powerful in itself. Like obviously all the lyrics are really strong, but that one line for me, it tells you the whole concept of the song. in that one line, which is, I was in love with you, something went wrong, and like, I can't unblame you for what you've done. It creates
that
whole
other line
world.
there, that unremember how I cared, try my best to unremember how I cared, is such a unique line. And using unremember, which is not a word, but it is in this song.
Yeah.
And we all know what it means.
Yeah,
really well written.
So, that kind of thing is very strong. I loved the strings in the chorus. So again, I'm kind of going back to sound design and that. The way that the strings came in at the chorus. So if you go listen to the full track, guys, because it is worth it. And you'll hear the strings come in and take you emotionally to that next level. It just lifts everything. Strings are a very emotive instrument in general. I think, you look back through the ages and strings are always part of the orchestra, when it's like they can, with the tremolo, create like the suspense, so they can create these lovely romantic legato movements. And I think bringing them in the chorus was a definitely good choice for me in this. And yeah, like the low end was so well mixed, like really nice sitting of the bass and kick together, which is so important for electropop. And yeah, like I just thought it was a really, really great song. And she has a definite artistic sound. So I'll definitely be checking out more of her material for sure.
And we'll definitely add these songs into our Spotify playlist, which we'll leave in the description, you guys, our Artist Spotlight playlist.
We will.
It's got it's turning into one of my favourite playlists. Great playlist.
I put it on in the car the other day when I was on a long drive.
Me too.
And I was just going through them and I was like, oh yeah, like I forgot that was from season, like I remember that from season 1 and yeah, they're all very different, but I like that, So if you want a different playlist, because quite a lot of Spotify playlists are quite like samey, they all quite like, some people write a song now to get onto a sounding playlist vibe, so
exactly.
I quite like that it's different. So so thank you very much for sending, and if anyone else is listening and wants to do the same, you can send us a track just like Julia did to submissions@songwriterslounge.net, and we check out everything that comes our way, and we'll give you some feedback 100%. And if you make the show, then brilliant. We'll promote you through and through.
Exactly.
So we'll move on to the next, which is a different kind of stripped back, more acoustic song. And this is from Ashley Amber.
This is Ashley Amber, and you're listening to my brand new acoustic version of my song, Those Nights, on the Songwriters Lounge Podcast.
It's one of those nights we'll be making love till sunrise, doing shot for shot until the bottle's dry. You put my hand in your hand, we'll do it again, yeah. 'Cause it's one of those nights we'll be making love till sunrise, doing shot for shot until the bottle's dry, laughing about anything and everything for hours at a time. 'Cause it's one of those nights when you tell me all your secrets, and I promise that I'll always keep it, yeah. You put my hand in your hand, we'll do it again, yeah. 'Cause it's one of those nights, it's one of those nights, it's one of those nights, 'cause it's one of those nights.
Jesus.
Nice touch at the end. It's one of those nights.
It's one of those nights, guys. ASMR. Songwriters Lounge ASMR. Honestly, that vocal was outrageous, Tom.
One of the things that I
Wow.
wrote down was how good Ashley's diction is. You understand every single word, no matter how powerfully she's singing. Really, really good. Really good.
I love the
and there's a lot of
speech
energy
bit
in it.
at the end, like you said.
Oh, yeah, definitely. there's so much energy in just vocal, guitar, piano, and bass. Like they're all right in the pocket there. I love the brightness on the guitar. Works really nicely with the piano. The piano drives the song for me. And if you listen to the full thing, guys, which again will be on the Spotify playlist, they kind of start out with a big piano hit, and it kind of sets the tone. Like it's like the pianist being like, "Right, you guys follow me." Bang, into the song. Ashley's vocal is amazing. The lyrics are awesome. It's a great story, really easy to follow story, which is always important. There's some sweet, sweet bass riffs in there. The whole way through the song, the bass player is just tearing it up.
Tearing it up.
Yeah, he is. Listen to it again. Boom.
He fucking is. He's going for it. Boom, boom, boom.
All these different counter melodies. Great, and the bass and the piano are kind of locked in, which is different. Like the bass is locked into the left hand of the pianist, but also the right hand of the pianist doing all the melody runs. The bass is doing a lot of that as well, and sometimes even harmonizing with the piano, which is clever. And I'd love to be in that session where they wrote that and just to hear it. One thing I will say is, for me, the bass is overpowering in this song. It could have done with being turned down a lot. And also there's a frequency right in that low to low mid range. I actually think you've written down the exact frequency, Andy. But it's right in there somewhere that I would just notch out straight away. Bang, get that out there. Just a little bit too overpowering for me. That's just
area.
Yeah, maybe even a little bit low. Maybe even
maybe even 200.
Yeah. So it's but that's one thing that I just took away from it. Other than that, the bass guy, I want to hear that bass because he's ripping it. Again, if you listen to the full thing, Ashley kind of emphasizes some lines with just speaking it, which just adds that extra emotion and definitely brings across the story in a new and exciting way for the listener. Again, when Ashley sings, like I said at the start, like her diction is incredible, so you understand everything. You're not thinking, what did she say there? Or like just trying to hum along. You understand everything she says, and she performs it beautifully. It's really well sung, which obviously comes across in what you're listening to. Wow, that's great, because she sung it well. It's not, the producer hasn't had to do much to her voice. There's different sections brought in. There's like a shaker that gets brought in, which adds another element. Again, keeping you interested without even realizing too much that there's something else going on, except like there's someone there with a shaker. And I just think that for me, the main emotion I get from it is that the piano brings the character into the romance of the song, and it's kind of a romantic song, which you get as well from the lyrics.
They're making love till sundown or something like that. So I mean,
it's
all about the love.
I feel like should listen to Barry White along with this song.
Let's get it on.
Let's get it on, baby. But yeah, great song. Really enjoyed it. And for an acoustic song, I like it that there's so many different elements. You don't really get that in acoustic music, but I think this one's nailed.
So I wonder if this is like a acoustic version of the main original, because you get, I don't know, like I'll need to check that out too, because you can tell like the energy is there for. It could be like a big production song. So if that is already done, then I'll be checking that out. I mean, I had to compose myself after those vocals because it was absolutely fucking ridiculous just how clear her vocal tone was. Her diction was superb. It was so hooky. You know, repeating It's One of Those Nights over and over again. People can jump on that. You know, if I'm in the crowd at a gig and I've never heard of Ashley before and she starts singing this, by like a third of the way through, I can start singing to your music because it's okay, it's repetitive, but that's not a bad thing. Like I can instantly jump on that and start to join that journey. And I just thought her riffs were beautiful. really, really solid vocal riffs with clear note-to-note separation. They weren't like blending into one, like they were like they were really, really nice. And that's someone that's vocally trained. That is either that or they've just been given a gift from God. But
yeah, could be either.
Absolutely, hats off to that. And it's a really nice story-based lyric that creates a really clear picture about for me, it made me think of it was a last-minute date. So it's like coming home and you're like, right, it's one of those nights. Like, we've had a shit week. Let's go out. Let's have a date night. And then, let's have a lovely meal. And then let's get home and, let's get at it.
Go to town.
Until sundown,
like
baby.
Rabbits. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, whether that was Ashley's vibe or not is up to her, but that's where it put me, Ashley. So you've done something right, and and yeah, I just loved I love the emotion in the song. So it's like there's a lot where like the instruments are really going for it, and then there's a lot where like if you listen to like the first verse and the bridge sections, it really strips back to like nothing at all, like really simple arrangement, really low energy and just relaxed tones and vocals coming across. And so they had like the high energy and the low energy in this track, which I really liked. Definitely agree with you that the bass was a bit distracting for my music production ears. It's just been pushed quite a bit forward for me. And certainly because this is an acoustic track, you don't want it to be too bassy. You want it to be more about the acoustic elements, and just have the bass sitting there as a nice like foundation at the low end. But I think obviously because the bass line is so fucking good, they obviously wanted to push it forward a bit just to shine it. But yeah, I would have taken it back just ever so slightly, maybe. I don't know, what would you say, Tom? Maybe like 5 dB on the bass bus or something like that, and just have it just complementing the song rather than being like almost like a lead guitar element. Just let it sit back in the mix, and that would have just topped.
I think even making that EQ cut would help.
Yeah, maybe
cutting that right around 200 to 500. You have to play with it. Cutting that as much as I'd go as extreme as 8 to 10 dB. Just in the EQ cut. I think that you might not need to turn down the bass bus.
If you've got a wide
playing
Q,
with it, just to find the right level.
Yeah, if you've got a wide Q on the EQ, and just notch it. Don't go too surgical. Maybe that would have helped, definitely. But yeah, a lovely, lovely track. Again,
yeah, really great.
I really enjoyed listening to this, and I hope you guys did too. Because yeah, it's one of those tracks that instantly me and Tom listened to, and we're like heads banging, heads bouncing, smiles on our faces. Like it's taken us somewhere, and that's what music is. That's what we are all about on the Songwriters Lounge. Is trying to listen to music and feel those things, whether that's heavy metal or acoustic like this. And we've had it all on the show. So thank you very much for sending that, Ashley. That's very very
I really
cool.
enjoyed that one.
Really enjoyed
Straight in the
it.
playlist.
Straight in the playlist. So we'll move on to the next one now. Who do we have here? We've got Eric Dodd from the States with a very, very genre-based song. I mean, you cannot mistake what genre this is. Yeah, it's a good country song. So here it is. I'll let you guys listen, and then we'll have a chat about it, Tom.
Sweet.
Hey y'all, this is Eric Dodd, and you're listening to my new song, Beer on the Bar, on the Songwriters Lounge Podcast. Hope y'all love it. Thanks.
Hypnotized, down vaporized, materialized on her porch. Here's a lime in my third Corona, and I left that tab wide open. All my friends know where I'm going when I'm long gone, gone. Here's a plan that goes to heaven. She calls me, I don't ask questions. She's the kind that slip out the back, talking hillbilly slipping.
Yeah. Ice cold beer.
Country. As soon as you hear Eric talk, you're like, yep, I know exactly what this is going to be.
Yeah, yeah.
This is some K-pop. No.
Yeah, this is unmistakably heavy metal.
I was shocked when he played country music.
No, it's so good. See
I love it.
See the very, very start of the track. And we didn't play it here because we always give you a snippet, guys, just so, you know, you can get a taste of it, but not the full thing.
We've got to tease you.
Yeah, we've got to tease you. Absolutely. See the opening part of this song, Tom, it made me feel hungover because of the way, like, I think the way he is, like, vocally, the way, like, the rhythms are and the way the harmonics are, there's, like, the kind of da. Like, it just made me feel a bit hungover. And then by the chorus, it was like, as if, you know, when you've got like the hair of the dog.
Back to party.
You've had his, like, what Eric's saying, your 3 Coronas and you're back on it. That's kind of what it made me think of.
Dude, yeah, it put me straight in Nashville, in one of the bars in Nashville. It, like, especially, I love the line, there's a lime in my Corona and left the tab wide open. I'm like, yes, I'm all about that. Like, it literally puts me there. Like, I get excited thinking about that line. I'm like, damn, I want my tab to be open in Nashville and someone else can pay it, please. But
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, this was, classic country song. We've had a ton of great country artists on the podcast, which has been awesome. Straight away, we've said it before. I feel like we keep coming back to things we've said before. The slide lead guitar is so good. So it takes me to Nashville again, just because of the amount of we've heard it. It works so well in this kind of music, all kinds of music, but especially this one. There's like also electric guitar stabs, like at the beginning, and it kind of helps with that kind of headbang groove. And the bass is really well locked in with the kick drum. Like the low end is quality in this song. Again, they just go with each other. They kind of take the journey. The bass player is playing to the kick, which classic technique. That's basically how bass players first started, just locking in with the kick drum.
Yep.
Really awesome. The drum mix is great. The drum's fantastic. The snare cuts through beautifully.
Yeah, I think the whole instrumental is really well mixed, it's well tracked in the studio and then well mixed as well, because the drums and the guitars were so thick. Like, it was a real full sounding mix. Like, stark contrast to the one that we've just heard, Ashley's song. You've got like that more acoustic feel. This was like the full production, and it really kind of, you could hear it, you could feel it, it took you to a different place. And yeah, really, really nice, big, kind of warm country sound.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, like the drums are great. And one thing I noticed is there's like 2 ways you can mix drums. You can do it drummer's perspective or audience perspective. In a song like this, I'd always be like, do it audience perspective, because it's got a very live feel. But they've done it drummer's perspective, which is hi-hat on the left, or the hi-hat in the majority of the left, which is awesome. It just, I don't know, I just enjoyed that. It's one thing I always listen out for when I listen to drums. I'm like, oh, audience, so this is a live feel. But I got that live feel from being a drummer myself, more playing it. So I don't know if it helped me get into it a little bit more, thinking I was playing along.
Ear drumming.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this is a great song, great country song, and you should definitely listen to the whole thing, because it puts you in a good mood.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd say a carefree drinking song. Is that about right? Definitely. Just switch it on a Friday night. Well, it's a Friday night now, Tom. So after this, I'm going to switch it on and have a beer. So
I'm going out for beers tonight. Maybe I'll have to put this song on.
I'm not able to go to the bar yet. We're soon going to open to be able to drink in bars.
Sorry
again.
for making that comment.
Can you believe it? I know. COVID-19, guys, COVID-19. But yeah, thanks for sending that in, Eric. That was cool. A cool like end to today's episode, to leave it on that kind of Friday night feeling. So when me and Tom lock off this episode, I'll be cracking into a nice cold beer.
Yeah, I might go for a walk and put this song on with a beer in my hand. Classic Eric. I'd like to drink with Eric, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be a good drinking buddy if he's playing in Nashville and bars and singing songs like that. It'll be a right laugh.
Oh, that'd be great.
I need to get to Nashville at some point, man. I'm desperate to
you
get
need
to that music
It's great.
scene.
Great place.
Yeah. There's a lot of places, to be honest, in the States, music scene-wise, that I am yet to explore. But fingers crossed, one day.
You'll get there, man. You'll get there. Same as me. I want to check him out all.
There's probably too much to actually tick off. You know, it's just that you'll never get the full breadth of venues and everything done, because the States is just too huge. But yeah, I want to do some of the
And it's
key
different
things.
everywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the rap scene where I'm from
Yeah,
is crazy. I was
rap
never
scene.
really into that rap music until I moved here, and I was like, damn, these guys are so good. Like, and they'll rap anywhere and it sounds great. Like even a cappella, they do it and you're like, wow, okay, these guys have got serious natural rhythm, and they can rap that quickly. Put music on top of that, it's like, wow. So it's really, really entertaining.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I think it's time for another cheeky songwriting challenge, don't you? This is where mid-podcast episode I challenge my good buddy and co-host Andy to write a vocal hook over the top of an instrumental provided to us by our sponsors JetTracks. Head to jettracks.com now, use code Songwriters Lounge for a free track when you buy one. Now today, I wanted to make the subject deliberately difficult for Andy. So Andy, this week's subject, stapler. Over to you, pal.
So I'll snap us together like a stapler, cause you know that I'm your favorite stationer. Don't try to run away from a stapler, even though maybe I'm probationer. Can't you see I'm crazy for the way you make me feel? And these metal pins will show you that I'm real when I'm stapled to you.
Cool. So we'll move on now to the listener topic section. And in episode, what was it, Tom? Was it episode 2, I think?
2, yes.
Yeah, so episode 2, we had our last Artist Spotlight episode where at the end of it, we asked you, what has been your most successful single release strategy yet to get your music heard? And that's a difficult question. And it's something I think so many people are finding pretty tough, because what is it? Something like, I don't know what the figure is. I used to know, but it's something like, I don't know, 40,000 songs every day to Spotify that's new or something like that. Yep. So how the hell do artists in this day and age like get their music heard? It's something that I've struggled with. Tom's struggled with. I don't know a single artist, unless you're lucky and you've been found by a label early on and just like plateaued into this successful, I guess, like, you know, you've got your like the weight of a label behind you and all their marketing power. But for most people who don't have that, it's really tough, really bloody tough.
Takes some serious self-investment and a lot of trial and error, and we had to make it real, you guys. We had a lot of submissions that were similar from you guys. So thank you very much. Like, you emailed in, you sent us Instagram messages. A lot of them were very similar. A lot of them were like, reach out to music bloggers, get on playlists, Facebook advertisement, Google advertisement, YouTube advertisement. All of those work. Unfortunately, there is no real one way ticket. You kind of have to try it all, see what works for you. A lot of it comes down to how good the song is, how good it's produced. There's a lot of tough love you need to give yourself. Like, is this song good enough? Will people want to listen to this? I know I've had that fight with myself more times than I can count. You just have to really be honest with yourself and right, is this song good enough? No, let's do another one. If you think it is good enough, get others' opinions. So, you know, you can reach out to me and Andy. I know every time I've got a song going out, I'll say, Andy, what do you think of this? And again, one thing we try and establish in this community is like, a critique is not disrespectful. It's not a disrespectful thing. It's like you're meant to get feedback. You're trying to improve the song, and the only way you can improve the song is by getting people that have never heard the song before to say it's good, but it's not catchy enough. So maybe go and rework the chorus, or it's good, but the drums are sounding a little bit flat, or stuff like that. Get others' opinions, and it just makes the world a difference, wouldn't you say?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we were talking just before we started the episode about when we are like designing a song, or we're writing a song or something like that with another artist, it is vital to have that feedback. I mean, feedback is power. So me and Tom were just discussing, like, we get worried when we send like sound design ideas to the artist and all they come back with is, yeah, I like it. Because it's like, But does that like represent your sound? Does that make you feel the way that the story should make you feel? Like when you're singing, can you imagine like the crowd interaction when you're singing it live? Like, you've got to think about all these things. So feedback for me is one of like, I never say negative feedback. I'm like you. It's like, what did you say? Critique. It's so important, so important. And sometimes probably like with related to this, if a single that you release doesn't do well, that might be critique in itself to say, right, well, what was it that people didn't connect with that time? Because I've done that myself. I've kind of went, well, that one wasn't as successful as the previous, or, you know, whatever. Well, why was that? And you can start to challenge yourself. You can start to also change direction in your next song to try and say, right, well, that didn't work, let's try something different. Or even you could change your marketing. So you might still be like, oh, I believed in that song, but you know what? It wasn't put in front of enough people. So you know what? Next time I'm going to do like a TikTok campaign, or I'm going to get really on my social media, or I'm going to go out. Obviously it's COVID-19, I get that, but I'm going to go out to gigs and I'm going to meet more people and hand out flyers, or, you know, there's all sorts of ways. And I think people can get quite creative as well. I think people need to get quite creative with all the competition that's out there. I don't have a clue how I would do it, and I spend more time in the studio writing and producing now. So, you know, not being an artist myself, I have nothing but respect for people that put so much time and effort into their single releases and their campaigns, you know, asking for pre-saves, sending out, I guess, song pitches to labels, and all that takes so much time and effort, and that's time and effort away from the music. And I think a lot of people get put off by that. I've listened to a lot of music marketing kind of podcasts and YouTube videos, and there's some great material out there. So you should check out people on YouTube that are well versed in the music marketing field, and you know, they have their own channels. I think there's one of the guys. Oh, I'm going to forget their names now. There's an English guy called Darren. Is it Darren something? But yeah, there's people out there like that are very, very like, they put a lot of emphasis on the fact that if you want to make it in today's world, you need to do the marketing as much, if not more, as you do the music. And I don't know, like, that would frustrate, it does frustrate the hell out of me, because we all do music because we love music, right? So it's like, if we liked marketing more, I'd be working for a marketing company. So
I know.
it's so complicated.
I mean, we know another good piece of advice is like get comfortable in front of a camera, and like Instagram stories and stuff. We've got a lot of friends, Andy and I, that we've met through this podcast that, I watch their stuff and think they're doing really well. They're doing all the right things and making the right moves to get their audience engaged. And, nothing grows overnight. Remember how much effort it takes from a long period of time of just building that audience. And it takes posting a real post on social media once a day, Instagram stories every day, multiple times, being on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Like Andy said, it's like a lot of it is marketing and knowing how to market yourself.
Yeah.
It's huge. I mean, we've got an upcoming episode with one of Andy's good friends and now one of my good friends, Natty Dread, who really took off on TikTok and done a fantastic job. And another friend of the podcast, Wendy Lucas, fantastic at just filming her day to day, and like she's really great at engaging. She's got, her voice is great in terms of her speaking voice. How she puts herself across is wonderful.
Yeah.
So just and when it goes back to the songwriting as well, like Andy said, like how does the song make you feel? Does it give you the feeling that you're trying to give others? Like if it's a sad song, like the song we just listened to, Julia Brennan, very sad song, and it completely conveys that message. Does yours? Be critical with yourself. Listen to it and think, no, it doesn't. I may need to go and re-record the vocals. I may need to completely get rid of the drums, make it acoustic, or just like some certain drums. Things like that are so important. How would the audience participate? Like Andy said, like, with Ashley Amber, you can pitch yourself like singing along to it. And, just think back to how Brian May wrote We Will Rock You. Queen, We Will Rock You. You've heard the song. Everyone on the planet has probably heard the song. He wrote it thinking, how will the audience, what will they do when they play a song? Does it dun, dun, ka, dun, dun, ka. And then they wrote a song to that. Just that simple, like, dun, dun, ka, dun, dun.
The most engaged crowd song that has ever been written, pretty much, isn't it?
Exactly. And like, they write that with the audience in mind, and a lot goes into how we'll. And again, like we were speaking to Dave, so go back and listen to this Dave Darlington podcast. Music producer, he produced for Sting, Avicii, David Guetta, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson. He worked with Michael Jackson. He did movie soundtracks. He told Andy and I he doesn't think what we as the artist thinks about the song. He mixes a song for the audience of the artist. Does it convey the right message? Does the mix sit in a place where, wow, this piano is amazing, it makes me feel this way, hence you already know what the song's going to be about. So he practically said he doesn't care what the artist thinks as long as the audience is the right direction. Look who he's worked with, superstars. It works. Like, how your song sounds overall is so important. Like, you're not going to get engagement if you just record it in GarageBand and it sounds like it. You really have to put the time and effort in and make it sound good, make it sound clear, like a lot of songs you hear. I know we said earlier, like 40,000 songs get uploaded a day to Spotify. I wonder how many of them sound great. I wonder how many of them have had the time and energy put into making it sound as good as it can, releasing it. And like Andy said, if it doesn't go well, the competition is so fierce, so don't put yourself down, carry on. Maybe change up the strategy. A lot of it is trial and error. A lot of it is, well, this worked, let's go with that again. Where I've had my personal listeners and audience engagement is through playlists and getting on playlists. I have a friend that is completely against playlists, won't touch or try and get in a playlist, but they'll go with Facebook advertisement and stuff like that. And, it just comes down to try and error what works for you and that's why we weren't expecting so many answers like that were, that a lot of people were saying they reach out to bloggers and things like that and music bloggers and, YouTube channels and influencers and all these things are just great tools to get your music heard. So we just really wanted to get that across and have a real conversation about all the things that could work. And there's no right answer. They all probably will work for some people and won't work for others.
Definitely. And it's all interesting stuff. And we're going to play this now. And we had a person called Ryan send in, thank you for sending this in, because it's basically they just talk about their story with how they got their music heard in a particular way. So I'm going to play that now and then we can discuss it after. Let's do it.
Hi, lovely folk at the Songwriters Lounge. This is Ryan Kelly Berkowitz sharing some of my stories as per how I got a few releases out there. My producer at the time contacted a few program directors, and one amazing gentleman got back to us, Paul Richards, who was with WHLI 1100 AM at the time. And he listened to everything, and he played me for years on the strength of my music. Initially, he had made me the spotlight artist for a week. He marketed my material. He sold my CDs. He made them part of gifts. He made them part of giveaways. He told everybody where to find me. He was just wonderful because he genuinely liked my songs. If you submit to people and they listen and they like you, they're going to play you. Most people are genuinely nice and kind, and they want others to succeed, especially in this business. I had also reached out to a few radio personalities on my own and got the ear of Kathy Millar. At the time, she hosted a program called Night Rhythms on 101.7 FM on WHUD, and she made me the Hudson Valley Spotlight Artist 3 years in a row. Again, she liked what I released. She liked the first album, and she liked the two singles that came after. One of the jazz club owners in New York City took me over to Jonathan Schwartz's radio program, and Jonathan played a few of my tunes on Sirius Radio. That was lovely. And in recent years, Grace Black over at the Jazz Lounge, it's a UK station. She played a couple of cuts from my second album, some covers and also an original. She was just so gracious and lovely. And right now, I'm working on a live show of originals that I've written for all the people that I impersonate. It's called Mostly Dead People and Share. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I'm going to write to every theater company across the U.S., every regional company. I'm going to write to cruise ships and write to places abroad and just keep knocking, And that's just what you have to keep doing. I know sometimes it gets frustrating, but tenacity has to win, right? Because if not you, then who? And if not now, when? So I'm hoping on the strength of the material. It's really funny. It's a really funny show. I've written all these songs for people that I impersonate: Judy Garland and Cher, Julie Andrews, Patsy Cline, Billie Holiday, Dolly Parton, Liza Minnelli, Karen Carpenter. It's hard. It's a really hard show. But yeah, you just have to plug it. You have to plug what you're doing. Because in the infancy of the whole process, it's your baby. They're your babies, right? They're your darlings. So no one is going to care about it initially as much as you are. And that's right. Who is going to care? You should care about it the most. And then once you get ears and once you get people, once you move people, they'll listen and they'll help. It was nice to weigh in, you guys. Nice sort of meeting everybody, kind of. Again, my name is Ryan Kelly Berkowitz, and I was happy to share some stories about getting some of my music out there. First album was called Not Just Another Girl. The second album was called Don't I Know You, Mister? And the singles that were put out there, one is called You Silly Girl, which was a co-write. And my other single is called Let There Be. It was a British pop, Paul McCartney throwback tune. Bye-bye now.
Hey, thank you very much. That was
Mostly Dead People and Share is my favorite show name I think I've ever heard.
I could definitely, I would that kind of name I would check out at the Edinburgh Fringe, because it's like loads of stuff like that.
Yeah,
so that would be class.
Mostly dead people and shit. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like comedy gold right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Ryan. That was a very detailed message that I'm sure a lot of people would take things from. And yeah, I mean, basically what Ryan was saying was believe in yourself and believe in your art.
Believe in your art. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's just one of these things. If I think the most successful people I remember distinctly on certain like interviews, and it's like what we spoke about at the very start of the show, with the hits like that are being documented on the Vice News channel, Story Behind series. A lot of them were just like, I wrote this and I was either just like so proud of it that I didn't really care if it like made me millions of pounds or was heard by the thousands of people. I just was so proud of it. And I think like there is something to be said there when people just like believe so much. Like that should fulfill you enough. And anything that comes as a cheeky bonus. Obviously you've got bills to pay if you're like trying to survive on music and stuff like that. But I think that does have something to be said about it, is, you know, you believe in it, you trust in it. And, you know, a lot of people that have had the success, you know, said that they didn't go out there with expectations. It was just a bonus that people liked it, and I like that.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, gigging and playing shows is important, and
totally. And you've got people that work
branch
their
out,
ass off, gigging non-stop.
Try not and just don't just play in your cities, guys. Come on, like try your best to spread out, because if you play in your city, you'll be you might make it, but you know, I see that a lot in the States. Like a lot of people are like, oh, our music scene needs to change. Just like, no, well, you'll just, unless you want to be just like a local musician, you're not going to get anything done. You need to go and spread out and get your music heard by more than just people around, because people around know who you are. Like, you know, get your music heard by other people. And yeah, I mean, it kind of leads nicely onto next week's or next Artist Spotlight episode's discussion topic.
Sure.
We wanted to kind of link these two in, and this is an honest one. We need you guys to be honest about this. So the next topic is, how long is your attention span when listening to new music? Do you give it a chance, or do you skip after only seconds? Be honest. We will be honest, but you'll have to wait till the next episode
very honest
to hear our thoughts.
Yeah,
I'll be very honest.
Brutally honest.
Brutally honest. But yeah, so how long is your attention span when listening to new music? Do you give it a chance, or do you skip it after a few seconds? Let us know your thoughts. There's a ton of different options that you can go with in this answer, and it varies on a lot probably. So just keep that in mind, and yeah.
Send it to us.
Hear our thoughts next time too
via DM on Instagram at Songwriters Lounge _, or you can send it in voice note form to submissions@songwriterslounge.net. There's a multitude of ways that you can get in touch with us, whether it be, you know, Instagram, our website, you name it. Just drop us a line and we will help you out and point you in how you can get involved in the next episode. But until then, we want you to stay healthy, keep listening to music, and we will see you in next week or the week after. Who knows when we drop the next episode? We will see you right there. So take care, guys, and all the best.
See you then, guys. Bye-bye.